Hi, I'm Candace. I have been attending Hope Church now for going on 2 years, I guess. I just wanted to share my testimony of what the Lord has done for me and my family. So my son and my daughter-in-law have 2 little girls, 2 beautiful girls, Brooklyn and Brinley. They decided that they were going to try for a boy. So they tried, they planned everything out that they could plan, and she got pregnant. They went and they had a blood test early on and found out that they had a boy, that he was a boy. And they were so excited and they were so happy. So everything was going along just perfectly fine. Her first 2 pregnancies had no problems, no issues. They were wonderful. But at 12 weeks, Kelly came home from work and went into the bathroom and discovered she was bleeding. So she left and she went to the ER in Waseca, and my son Dakota called me and he told me what was going on, and he said, "Mom, she's bleeding and she's cramping." And I told him, I said, "Dakota, you need to start praying." I said, "You need to pray. There's nothing we can do but pray." And him and Kelly are new Christians. They were new Christians. And I called my sister Julie, who lives in Colorado, and she's been a born-again Christian for many, many years. And she's always been my rock. She's always been my go-to. And she says, "Why are you calling me so late?" And I told her what was going on, and she said, "Go get your Bible." And the Bible she's referring to is my prayer Bible. Her and I spent hours on this together on FaceTime making our prayer Bible. And we prayed, and we prayed, and we read. And I've been a Christian for many years, back and forth. I've had my times, but I have never, ever prayed on my knees before. And I just thought, God, if you're really real, please show us. I know the will of God. You know, everybody prays the will of God. I just prayed, Lord, would you please align your will with my will, our will. And then I got a phone call from Dakota. They were on their way to her OB doctor. And I could hear in his voice, he said, "Mom, we're not going to do this again." He said, "If we lose this one, we're done." And I told him, I said, "Dakota, don't you ever, ever, ever give up on God. You don't ever give up on God." When she went to the hospital in Waseca, the doctor told her she couldn't find a heartbeat. They didn't see any way out because at this point, she was still bleeding and cramping quite a bit. I mean, it's to them, it seemed rather hopeless. So it's like I had a small window there to pray, and I clenched. My Bible is pretty worn, and it's less than 2 years old, because this is my go-to, and I just thought, no way, you're not taking this baby. And this was my weapon that I used to fight that. I'm not good at memorizing verses, but I memorized Jeremiah 29:11. It says, "I know the plans that I have for you to prosper you and to not harm you." And I prayed that prayer over and over. I wrote that prayer on a sticky note, and I stuck that note underneath. I have a clear phone case, and I stuck that prayer underneath my phone case. And I prayed that prayer all the time. But I continued to pray. He hung up. They went to the doctor. And I continued to pray and pray. What I received was a text message that said, "We have a heartbeat." She said, "You know, there is a heartbeat." She said, "Baby's fine. He's doing good." And I hit my knees and I started thanking God. And I thought, And I always been a prayer. I pray. We all pray but I've never prayed like I prayed that night. I haven't to this day prayed again like I prayed that night. But I said, if I never feel him again, if I never feel him, if I never hear him, I know he was there. I know he was there in that situation. I don't care what your situation. I don't care how hopeless. There's hope. And that little boy that smiles back at Grandma now is such proof of it. So nobody's gonna tell me there's not a God. Nobody's gonna tell me he doesn't exist, because he does. And he smiles at me every time I see him. I've never ever felt like I should share anything with anybody like this, but I felt God that night as I prayed. I felt the peace as I was praying. Even scared, I felt peace. And I knew it. I knew in my heart that he was going to be here. And now we have beautiful little Warren Charles, 4 months old, happy, smiling, just, and I look at him and I thank God every time I look at him, because he was the miracle that God delivered.